Hey y'all, welcome back to the Coco Swatches YouTube channel. My name is Ofune and I am the face behind some of the swatches you might be seeing in your social media feeds. As you can tell by today's title, we are talking about bronzers. I haven't really done a sit down chit chat video in a while, so today's Coffee with Coco topic is all about bronzers. And before we get started, today we are powered by La Colombe Corsica coffee. If anyone else is obsessed with coffee like me, please let me know any recommendations you have down below. Currently obsessed with espresso right now, so definitely trying a lot of dark roasts. So let's just jump right in. I wanted to do today's video because I feel like the bronzer topic, especially for people with deeper skin tones, is so confusing and so convoluted. I get so many questions about bronzer recommendations. What is a bronzer? Where do you put it? So I want to address all of those questions and obviously give y'all some recommendations on some of my favorite bronzers. So let's just start off with, what is a bronzer, right? So I think that there's so much confusion around what a bronzer is because typically okay, let's just rewind. So the makeup industry obviously was made with a white gaze. It was made with white complexions in mind. So even when you look up the definition of what a bronzer is, it's defined as basically something that's supposed to make you look like suntanned. So if you look at even the tanning industry, there's so much research and effort that's gone into figuring out what is the ideal shades of tan for lighter skin tones, which hasn't been done for dark skin tones. So long story short, I say all this to say that most of these formulators don't know how black people tan. They don't know how people of color, they don't know how darker skin tones tan. They don't know the gradations, whether it's warmer or cooler. Obviously anyone who has skin can get darker with the sun. I can get darker in the summer months. It's not going to be a huge discrepancy, but I can definitely quote unquote tan. But the idea of looking suntan is something that I think that mostly people with darker skin tones, mostly people with lighter skin tones do intentionally. And because of that, there's just so much more knowledge around what looking suntanned looks like for someone with a lighter complexion. So the fact that the definition is already rooted in a light, a white gaze, or from a lighter skin perspective, is already starting the confusion. So what is it, 2 or 3 years ago, we started to see a bunch of bronzers for deeper skin tones hit the market. Prime Beauty was probably one of the first that I saw that came out with a matte bronzer, and they're black owned. We'll get into some of my favorites later, but let me not even say the first, because it basically is a resurgence. Because if anybody knows, the OG bronzers was CoverGirl Queen, and then the Shea Moisture one, which I have here just for research purposes. I do not put this on my face. It's almost all gone, but I just need the color to compare. But I mean, those were the bronzers that kind of were the staples for a lot of deeper skin tone people until they obviously got discontinued. So yeah, I say all that to say, basically, to me, a bronzer is something that is going to warm up the skin. And I say that because I think it's easier to define it that way when you compare it to something like a contour, which is defined as something that's gonna basically give you shadow. And it's supposed to be of a cooler undertone. And so it's if you're looking at the two complexion products and where they go on the face, a contour is definitely gonna run you more of a cooler, ashier undertone, whereas a bronzer usually is gonna run you more of a warmer undertone. And I feel contours kind of chisel the face, they create shadow. One of my favorite contours to kind of compare bronzers to is Definitive by MAC, because it does have that kind of ashy quality, but you can kind of tell that it does kind of sculpt the face, versus a bronzer where I feel it just, I don't know, this is a very arbitrary definition, but it gives life to the face. It just kind of brings out the cheeks as opposed to chiseling them down and kind of angling them, if that makes sense. So that's my basic definition. And I will just say that I'm not a quote unquote makeup professional. However, I feel I'm still qualified to talk about this, because even in books and classes, there's no set curriculum that necessarily includes deeper skin tones. So there's people that have done, you know, the schooling or whatever to become a professional and still don't know, you know, how to work with deeper skin tones, and especially don't know how bronzers work on deeper skin tones. So essentially, bronzers on us should be like the colors that we would like get darker, like how if we wanted to be like a 0.5 to, you know, 1 to 2 shades darker, that should be your bronzer color. So whatever undertone, whatever shade you are, that's what you should think about. That's how you should think of your bronzer. The confusion comes in because for so long we didn't have bronzers for deeper skin tones. So there's like blushes out there that can double as bronzers. There's contour products out there that double as bronzers, because a lot of the companies and formulators that are, you know, normally not people of color, not black folks, are just basically giving us brown powder and calling it blush, contour, etc. So I feel like there's just a lot of products out there that can double as a bronzer, but now we're finally starting to actually get products that are labeled as bronzers for deeper skin tones. Hopefully that made sense. So next, we're gonna go into placement. So where do you put it? I already have my highlighter. I already have my contour. I do not have room for a bronzer, right? So for me, like, if you look at the face, highlight usually, for my face shape, I'll preface that, like, different people have different face shapes, so what works for me may not work for you, but this is like my general advice. For my face shape, I have my highlighter here, and then I usually, if I'm wearing contour, will place it under the cheekbone, like right under, to kind of chisel it. For me, bronzer goes right in the middle, like right, that sweet spot right up in here. And then if I want to wear blush, I will blend my blush into my bronzer. So I'll put the bronzer on first, and then I will put the blush on like around here, like apples of the cheeks, and then blend it upwards. So that's where I like to place it. I know that maybe other people wear it differently. Maybe sometimes I do bring it up like almost to my eyes, because I mean, that's just the way my face is shaped, that I kind of like it like that. I don't always wear highlighter these days, so sometimes I could just put the bronzer all the way up there. But honestly, makeup has no rules, so you can wear it however you want. You can also like use it around the perimeter of your face, on your jawline, on your nose. If you're trying to look sun-kissed, like you've been out in the sun, it's basically any place where you feel like the sun is going to hit you. So it's similar to contour. It can replace your contour. It can be added on top of your contour. It's really however you want to wear it. You can play with it depending on your face shape, but there's a lot of different use cases for it. You can even use it as your eyeshadow and just put on mascara, because it's supposed to be kind of like, you know, your natural shade of brown, but just like a couple shades darker. So a lot of people like to put it on their eyes as eyeshadow. Really, you can do a lot of things with bronzer. So hopefully that sums that up. All right, so let's get into options, last but not least. So it's pretty freaking amazing that almost all of my bronzers, my favorite bronzers, not all of them, all of my favorite bronzers are black owned. Like, round of applause to the black owned brands doing what needed to be done, because the other brands were just not giving. Like, there's other brands that have great bronzers. I feel like I did a video about the Makeup Revolution ones. I did a video about the Charlotte Tilbury one. Not ones, the one. But there's others out there, but the black owned brands really just came and gave us options, okay? So we're gonna start off with those first. So the first one, probably the most well-known one, and kind of a controversial one. I mean, Fenty Beauty, partially black owned. I'm just gonna give it to her for the sake of this video, because Rihanna, she did what she needed to be done, shaking the table all the time. So it is what it is. I know it's not technically fully black owned, but you know, it is what it is. So Rihanna, Fenty Beauty, we have both cream and powder bronzers. So going back to like the definition, I find that in general, most cream bronzer products that I own tend to be more neutral, like on the neutral side. Not like all the way cool, but definitely more neutral. So like the Fenty Beauty cream bronzers, they definitely to me skew more neutral. I have a Danessa Myricks bronzer I used in my last video. I'll probably pop a clip up right here of that one. It also kind of skews a little bit more neutral. It's not cool, it's just not as warm as the powder in my eye. as the powder counterparts. And then Huda Beauty has like a Tantour, which is like supposed to be like a contour and a bronzer in one, which again, I mean, if you're trying to split the difference between a contour and a bronzer product, it's going to be neutral. So again, like a neutral undertone. So if you're looking for like a cream, and also too, sometimes I use my matchstick as like a cream bronzer product. I use espresso, but it's also more neutral. So if you're looking for a cream bronzer, I would suggest trying to find a concealer that's kind of just more warm undertone. It's kind of, the cream bronzer category is a little bit less less development there, but I feel like just because it's just easier for people to work with powder, it's easier to kind of, well, I wouldn't say it's easier to work with powder, but I feel like just people just are more familiar with powder. So to say all that to say, the powder, on the powder side, we have 3 bronzers from Fenty Beauty. I have them down here. I'm trying to open them without messing them up. We have Thick Mint, which is the latest one, Cocoa Naughty, and Mocha Mommy somewhere. Hold please. So we've got these 3 options from Miss Fenty Beauty. I will show you how they look like on camera, especially the difference between Mocha Mommy and Thick Mint. I can wear Cocoa Naughty. I actually do like it in like the winter months. It is like, if I had to like qualify it, I would say like Cocoa Naughty is like 0.5 shades darker than me, and then Mocha Mommy is like 1 with a little bit of extra warmth, and then Thick Mint is like 1.5 to 2. So kind of use that, and I wear 445 in Fenty if that helps. So something I like to do with the Fenty bronzers is definitely pair them together. Like Mocha Mommy, now that they came out with Thick Mint together, are just a vibe. They're just, you know, they look great. I feel like some people still think that that Fenty could go a little bit deeper. I haven't seen anyone with a deeper skin tone try out Thick Mint to see what it looks like on them, so I don't know if it works or not, but I mean, it is significantly deeper than Mocha Mommy, so I don't know. If y'all know, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts. So moving on to Prime Beauty. Like I said, it is my very favorite perfect bronzer shade. I don't have one that compares. This is Bronzeville. It's just perfect. Like, it's just perfect for my skin tone. I don't need anything else with it. I don't need to pair anything else with it. It's just perfect. It's the bomb, and it's Black owned. They also have Chocolate Liddy, which is a darker version here. This is a little bit too dark for me, so I wouldn't pair these two together because it's just a little bit too dark. And then they have a lighter Glow Coast here, which is, I might be able to get away with it, but this is just so perfect that I haven't really even played with Glow Coast, to be honest. Ooh, not it falling out the pan. That was a close one. That was Bronzeville. All right, so next we have Mented Cosmetics. Again, another Black owned brand doing what needs to be done. The 2 shades I have here for my complexion are Yacht Life and Out of Office. They do have some lighter ones that I'll probably put swatches up somewhere on the screen. These are the ones I would suggest from like my skin tone. If you're around my skin tone or darker, these are the 2 that I like to work with. Sometimes I will pair these 2 together if it would focus. There we go. Yacht Life does have like a little bit of shimmer, but it's like, it doesn't really show up on the face. And we'll get into some shimmery options too, because I feel like sometimes people ask me for that, and it's not something that I normally cover, but we're covering it today. So next we have Liss Beauty. This is a new brand. New clean brand in Sephora, Black owned. They also came out with bronzers. I believe they have a total of 5 shades. I have 2 here in No Limits, Worthy, and Strength. Worthy and Strength, the shades I have. I work with Strength, which is lighter of the 2, but I can also pair it with Worthy. So those are 2 options as well. I'll probably insert the footage of me wearing it. I did a review on this brand, so I'll pop that up on the screen somewhere. Next we have, can you believe it's like so many options? And hopefully, like, I'm trying some of them on, some of them I'm just showing swatches, but hopefully you get an idea of like what's what. I have comparison swatches on my page if you're wondering like what's darker than what. But yeah, so next we have Colored Rain, which just another Black owned brand, which just launched a collection of bronzers. These are the two I'm working with. We have, all right, my battery keeps dying, so I'm gonna just try my best to quickly wrap this up. So as I was saying, Colored Rain has a bunch of different options. I'll put the swatches on the screen somewhere below, but I wear the shades Naughty Spice, which is like the darker version. That's probably like would be my summer shade, and then Cinnabay, which is like kind of like my equivalent of Cocoa Naughty. I would say it's a little bit darker than it, but it is like not like a bold wash of color. So this is like my 1.5 to 1 shade darker, and this is like my 1 to 2 shades darker. So if you're my shade, these are the shades I'm working with, but I'll put the swatches of all the other ones below. So that's all the matte bronzers. Like I said, basically all Black owned, amazing. Definitely into it. I am going to do shimmer bronzers because I do get asked for recommendations. Okay, so I did do swatches comparing the Shea Moisture bronzer to basically what is the closest you're going to find on the market. Here is the Shea Moisture bronzer. You can kind of barely see it. Let me turn down the brightness quickly. All right, so here's a Shea Moisture bronzer, which is like, you know, the perfect basically bronzer shade that we still haven't come close to, but this is basically as close as we're gonna get. So this here is Fenty Beauty's Penny For You Thoughts. Some people don't like this because it has those kind of big flecks of glitter, but you know, you gotta do what you can. This is probably my favorite dupe. It's not an exact dupe, it's a little bit lighter obviously, but it is the Hard to Get blush from MAC. It's just a beautiful shimmery formula. It's like not too like big, there's not those big glitters, but it still manages to give like a sheen and a shine. This is the Kosas bronzer that has like some sheen and shimmer to it. It is like very kind of warm undertone, but it's just not as deep as Miss Shea Moisture over here. And then we have this one from Morena Beauté, which does have glitter in it, but it's kind of hard to see it because it's like not infused with glitter. Oh, I forgot one. Let me just quickly swatch this. This is the Makeup Revolution highlighter in Radiation. Let me just quickly add this right over here. Yeah, still not as deep, but it is probably, it's like basically like a brown highlighter. So basically here they are. This is the Fenty one. This is the makeup, the MAC one. This camera doesn't want to focus today. And then here we have the Kosas one here. And we have this one. So this one I also want to mention, honorable mention. This Ebene shade this is like a duo from the brand Morena Beauté. They're a Swedish Black-owned brand. This Ebene shade is probably one of my first bronzers that I used. One of the first. I can't remember which came first, but I know that this is definitely one of the first ones that I used. This is called a blush on their website, but it's also great as a bronzer. So this is another option that is Black-owned that will give you bronzers. It's just that I feel like this is really their only bronzer shade, I think, or these two are like their bronzer shades. So it's a little bit more pricier, but I do think that they have a retailer in the US that makes it a little bit less pricey, and you can buy them individually. You don't have to buy them together. But if you're a makeup junkie like I am, I mean, doesn't this look beautiful? It would look beautiful in anybody's kit. It's a great addition if you are a makeup artist and you need a bronzer, some bronzers for your kit. So yeah, I didn't want to forget them. But yeah, I mean, you can see my desk right now. I have so many bronzers on it, but that's it. Hopefully I was able to answer any questions that you might have had about bronzers. What is it again? Why do we need it? Do I need it? If I do need it, which ones do I need? So hopefully it's kind of answered some of those questions. I mean, makeup is so personal. Really, like, you don't need any of it, but then you can also argue you need all of it. So like me, like, I want to give it to me. So but for a long time I've been searching for a bronzer product. If you followed my page, my Instagram page for a while, you know that like bronzers are one of my favorite topics just because they've always just been so hard to find for deeper skin tones. So I'm personally happy that there's just so many more options now. lacking a little bit in the cream and the shimmer categories, but as far as the matte bronzers goes, we have come such a long way. I will mention the brush I use because sometimes y'all ask me what brush I use. This is the MAC, I want to say, I think it's 140S. The numbers have come off, but I like this brush. If it will focus, come on, bruh. I'm trying to get this before the battery goes. Okay. So this is the brush, and there was my battery. So I'm going to wrap this up, but this is the brush I like to use for a lot of powder complexion products, highlighters, bronzers, contours, etc. So again, that's all I have for y'all today. If you have any additional questions, please let me know what they are down below, and I will try my best to get to every single one of you. Thanks for clicking on this video and hanging out with me today. If you liked it, please give it a like. It helps my channel a lot, and follow this channel for more cool content. All right, y'all, that's all I got. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.